K.T.E.
Yeah.
In case you missed last week, our predictions champ remains as such.
It was 1 point. It's fine.
Half a point.
That's fair.
But any little bit counts.
It is very true, my friend.
Hello and welcome. If it's your first time joining us, it's the KTE Wrestling Podcast, and we are 1 week removed from WrestleMania. I'm joined today by the Tommaso Ciampa clean-shaven inspired Connor. How are you, sir?
Doing all right, man. It's been a weird week since Mania. Raw last week was kind of interesting. And SmackDown, we got a couple good matches that should have been at WrestleMania. You know, the triple threat tag match, but TLC tag. But other than that, man, SmackDown was pretty solid.
Debut or return,
the
rather,
return
for
of
Aleister
Aleister,
Black,
versus the Miz coming up this Friday. So,
and then new clean-shaven Tommaso Ciampa. It's like a new character.
you know, I
almost.
was watching. I ended up getting home late, so I kind of caught the end of that. When he was hanging up there, I was like, "Who's the beardless guy?" I didn't know who that was at first, and I was like, "Oh, that's Tommaso." but no, I mean, I think they're setting up some really good stories. I'm still very confused about why Backlash is next week. I'm kind of confused on that scheduling
as to why
part.
they had it so early.
Right, compared to they just had WrestleMania. We're going all last week, all this week, all next week, and then next Saturday is Backlash. So I'm confused on that part, but
It's because they had WrestleMania so late this year. That's why. Normally you'd have 3 weeks or more until
Right.
Backlash happens. But it's not too bad. It continues. If you're looking at it on a business sense, it looks like they're continuing the momentum for WrestleMania, which is a good thing for them. But WrestleMania is always, I say always, but in modern context, WrestleMania has been followed by Backlash. So to me, it being so close isn't too much of a problem because Backlash most of the time is usually a backlash,
right.
a reaction to what's happened at WrestleMania. So it being so close doesn't bother me as much.
Well, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I always love when they do pay-per-views. I love watching them each month, but it's just kind of weird that it's this close. Normally, like you said, it's like that 3-week build. This was like a 2-week bam. Here we go. We've already got some matches set up for it. Cena, Orton. As of yesterday, we got Lyra and Becky for the women's IC title. Pat and Gunther, which that could be a very good match if I'm being honest. I think Pat's always put on good performances, so is he going to win? Probably not, but I think it's going to be a solid match, and I think Gunther's going to get the win that he missed at Mania, but yeah, I mean, you know, the quick tap, you know, that was big win for Jay, but
So as far as your lowdown for SmackDown, bring us up to speed with what happened and your feelings about it.
So I definitely like that they started out with Cena Orton. That was a good start. I'm very glad that they're doing the rivalry this way because we've seen time and time again where it was always heel Orton, babyface Cena. This time's different, and John's taking some personal shots at Randy about his kids and stuff. So. I'm excited that started the match. That started it. Randy ended up getting hit, and then John got hit with an RKO again, and you know sold the hell out of it because he just lays there, and he's like, "Dead man Cena," but
He wants everyone to see his hair transplant.
which I might need. But anyways,
No, don't.
no, stop, come back. But then you go into they announce the match for St. Louis, which should be the last time these two ever go against each other. I actually saw a video. They are both tied at 5 wins apiece against each other.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
I saw a video.
break the trend.
This should break the tie, but I saw the video yesterday. I was like, oh, makes sense. So I'm excited to see that. This possibly could be the last time we ever see these two go against each other. I don't know if I'm keeping my stance on the winner, but I kind of put it on the podcast last week, um, but then you go into then I think after that was the Tiffany segment, and Tiffany's she proved her worth at Mania, and then you had Jade come out, and it's like I think it's still too early for Jade to be that kind of match like for a world title. You got to build her up more. She's been off TV for so long. She had this small rivalry that's still going on with Naomi. You can't instantly insert her into that picture. So when those two fought, it was a good stepping stone for that to give her some other sort of competition. But so we'll see how if they do Naomi and Jade at Backlash for round 2. I think the best part, obviously the best match of the night was the triple threat TLC, but I think us getting a new U.S. Women's Champion was pretty good. I think we got Zelina Vega finally wins a championship that's not a tag title, so I'm
Has
excited.
she won
Yeah,
a tag title, Matt?
I thought she was a tag champ at one point. If not, I might be mistaken. This might be her first title.
They said that it was her first championship, and I didn't know if that meant first championship
like singles
overall
or over.
just singles.
I'll look
Yeah.
into that after the end of the show, but I'm excited to see they're doing that because I think she could elevate that title. It's kind of like Ray did a little bit. He brought it. I think it's more of the Latino culture, and because I also saw another thing that everybody makes a big deal about race and stuff, about how there's not enough black champions or most champions are white in WWE supposedly. 80% of the roster is somebody of color. So it's like, okay, WWE's being diverse about it. I think John's the one person that's not of color, but everybody's like, oh, WWE needs to do more with that. And it's like they're doing that. They're finally doing that. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. But like I said, I think the match of the night for sure was the triple threat TLC. Like I said, Tommaso standing up there and Angelo Dawkins hitting him with that spear, kind of like Edge, but it was not as good as Edge's in my opinion.
No.
But it was still the moment.
And I think a big part of that is Tommaso's selling of it.
Yeah.
If you notice, Dawkins got him released after, whereas Hardy released as Edge was meeting him. So he was kind of halfway down.
Kind of halfway.
And therefore it allowed it to look a little more gnarly because it was as he was reacting to the spear rather than, oh, crap.
But, yeah, man. I think, and then obviously, as you brought up, Aleister Black's back. We're getting that match against The Miz on Friday, which I'm excited to see. I want to know where they're going to go with Aleister, though. I want to know, are we putting him in the main card picture? Or is he going to just be a mid-card person? What are we doing with that? Because he's a big piece in the company now. They hyped up this return for weeks and weeks. We're bringing him back for a reason. It's kind of like Rusev. They're bringing him back for a reason.
Yeah.
So what are we doing with these guys? Obviously, Rusev cut a promo. Didn't really show up on Raw yesterday, but he shot that video package, and I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited to see what what the future has in store for Aleister. Maybe he's gonna get inserted in the U.S. title match. Maybe he'll have a long rivalry with The Miz. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens Friday. But I think overall SmackDown last week was a 7. I wasn't too hyped up on it because there's not really a lot of there's not a lot of debuts. Like, yeah, they had the new tag team from NXT show up, but then you had Aleister returning. But
those were it.
Yeah, that was about it. So I think a good 7 is where I was at for my ratings on.
So I'm curious, especially with all that we had on Friday. How did you feel about Fraxium? Because I imagine you haven't had a whole lot of experience with them.
I have not had a whole lot of experience with them, but I thought they looked all right. I think they're going to be which I don't understand. the tag team division on SmackDown is amazing. Why are they on SmackDown?
Yeah.
Why don't we put them on Raw? Raw needs more tag teams.
Lige said the exact same thing. He was like, listen, these guys are cool. They're awesome. He loved them. He loved Fraxium, which I figured he would because he likes the high flying,
right?
like extreme paced type wrestlers. He was a big X Division guy back in the day. But SmackDown's tag division is so stacked and Raw is so weak that it's baffling why they said, yeah, we're going to make this division even more impressive.
Right. They're like, we'll give SmackDown. Like, I don't know what WWE's doing with that tag division on Raw, but at this point, why do we even have Raw tag champions? Like that's not even a knack towards like Raw. It's like, why do we even have tag champs if all the teams are on SmackDown? It's like,
I mean, it's pretty much just Judgment Day, War Raiders, New Day.
That's it.
Because the LWO hasn't had a sniff of tag gold in forever.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm confused as hell on why Faxium showed up on SmackDown, but it's like we said, we've got 3 teams just in the main event that are stacked tag teams, and then we got Pretty Deadly, who's an okay tag team. They're a goofy tag team, but they're still an okay tag team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean. So they're a big part of it. It's just like, and then you apparently, if the White Six ever show up, they're supposed to be a tag team.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that faction, but it baffles me that WWE's failed the Raw tag division so bad. It's whenever the draft happens, unless that's going to be.
I don't know if that's a pipe dream for us or not. We keep expecting the draft to happen because it makes perfect sense to happen after
I've
Mania.
Seen
but
rumors that apparently sometime in June, July, but obviously that's still 2 months away. But
so you're thinking even later?
Yeah, I'm thinking before. Probably, I don't know what other pay-per-views we have. I know we have one this month, one in May, one in June. Don't know what July's is yet. Obviously, August is SummerSlam, which also, did you see what they're doing for the tickets on that? The front row seats?
Number-wise?
For, $40,000 for front row seats at SummerSlam, since it's a 2-night event.
So you've got a choice, ladies and gentlemen. You could either buy a brand new car, a down payment for a house, or you can go to SummerSlam.
I think we decide to go to SummerSlam, but... Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? For 2 nights? That's the problem with the 2-night thing. They're backing themselves in a corner with all these 2-night pay-per-views.
Well, and I was talking to Elijah a little bit about this as well, because he was wanting to go to Backlash, and he was looking at ticket prices. And for close to nosebleeds, it's almost $300. Just for St. Louis Backlash. Because I guess Cena and Orton are going to be on it. WWE are going to price themselves out of competition if they're not careful.
Yeah, that's a topic for another day. But so we're supposedly getting the draft, so maybe they'll switch teams over. But then it's like you do that and you don't do anything with them. You don't do like they put teams on Raw or SmackDown, or they'll throw a superstar on Raw. It's like, all right, we have big hopes. Carmelo Hayes.
It's taken him over a year to get relevant.
He won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania Friday because, that's apparently a big day. But yet, where's he been at?
Well, he's been treated, I want to say he's been treated as a joke, but he's not been treated as what they've been billing him because they called him the #1 draft pick on SmackDown, and he has just been kind of a random mid-carder for most of the year.
You want to go on to that the Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner has never been pushed.
They've done a much better job in the last few years of doing that because last year Bronson Reed won it.
That's true, and before he got hurt, he was
really rising through the ranks, yeah. And then prior to that, you had Bobby Lashley, which it's Bobby Lashley. He's always going to be a big deal.
But
so the last 2 years, they've done a pretty good job.
Okay. Because, it just seems like every time they do it, it's like...
It means nothing.
It's like Matt Hardy won. Oh, hey, look, cool.
Yeah,
Let's go back to the tag division.
yeah. Now with Bray Wyatt though.
Yeah. R.I.P. Bray.
The deleter of worlds.
The deleter.
But speaking on the tag division, it's pretty cool that you can spend so much time on that division on SmackDown and have two separate feuds and it still be riveting. And we're looking at people that weren't even on the show. That's how deep their tag division goes. We talk about people like Pretty Deadly, obviously. But yes, SmackDown was interesting of a show. And I say this because Elijah and I both had the same sentiment. I'm excited to see where they go with Zelina Vega, but I watched SmackDown a day late, and I was skipping through the whole match, and I did not know it was a title match. So when I skipped, I saw her holding the belt, and I said, "Hold on, wait a second."
You know what though? Going back to the U.S. title, I think we're getting probably a fatal 4-way, because you got Fatu, L.A. Knight.
Oh, the men's
Fatu, L.A. Knight,
Priest,
and then McIntyre. So I mean, maybe Drew pulls that one on. They're not gonna let Fatu lose that so quick. But
there's legs to this because you can have the fatal 4-way, and then you can have McIntyre Fatu as its own separate
SummerSlam night 2.
That's quite a bit away. They're advertising right now. That's quite a bit of ways to wait.
Well, I'm just throwing out a date out there because the part 3 of a 2-night extravaganza.
Yeah.
But
I'm very interested.
Yeah,
in that direction.
I would be too, because as much as I like Drew, his big moment's gonna come at next year's Mania. I have a feeling they're gonna finally stop BSing him around. If it's not at Mania, it's going to be at SummerSlam. He's going to get that big title win at Mania, or at one of the big pay-per-views. So let it be SummerSlam against Jay or next WrestleMania. But so putting him in this right now to get him built up towards that, I'm super stoked for it. I hate saying it, but Priest is right where he's supposed to be right now.
Yeah.
He had his moment. He was world champ. Got screwed because of Judgment Day, and now he's finally back in that. He's still a very solid athlete. He's still one of the top guys, but there's so many things going on in the main event card, especially on Raw with the new faction of Rollins and Breakker, that Drew is right where he should. Damien's right where he should be in the men's division in the mid card, because you got Cena Orton. And then on Raw, you've got Jay versus Logan Paul. And then you've got Seth and Braun doing what they're doing. So there's not really much for Damien to do in that point. So now putting him in the U.S. title picture makes sense. And I guess it continues the rivalry between Drew and Damien for Backlash. So
Yeah.
Make it a fatal 4-way. Yeah, make it a little fatal 4-way. And
yeah, I'm very interested to see where that goes. I agree with you in that Priest is a top-level mid-carder who could be slotted into the main event scene at a moment's notice. But as it stands, there's other directions that don't include him at this time, unfortunately. But as far as SmackDown goes, in my thoughts as a whole on it, I was really happy to see Alistair. I'm curious because before he left, he was in promo rooms giving cryptic words and talking about the Dark Father. From his presentation on Friday, what I'm guessing is that they're going to continue Alistair Black NXT version. They're not going to continue on with any of the eye patch thing with the Dark Father promo room.
He still wore that contact lens in his eye on Friday.
You think that might have something to do with it?
I think they're still going to do that a little bit, just because he's playing that character like, oh, I got stomped X amount of years ago. It's like, I got to keep that gimmick
that
up.
lore. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Rey
true.
Mysterio just pulled it. It just went on about his way. But
That's true. Aleister Black is somebody that he's much like Wyatt and Kevin Owens and himself in that respect of um, things that happen in the wrestling ring to him carry over
right.
and they become a part of the character.
Right, and I think that's why Alistair's such a great character because he's willing to keep putting that contact lens in to make it seem like, oh yeah, I really lost my eye X amount of years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Or I'm in a position where it really is that damage type
right.
of deal.
Even though you watch his like podcast and it's literally him sitting there and his eyes are fine, so obviously it's character written. But I do like that though,
Yeah.
because normally when people do that and they're like, "Oh my eye," like I said, Rey Mysterio, he was like, "Okay, that was good for about 2 weeks. I'm ready to go."
I'm
It's
held
like,
up. Yep.
right? It's like no, Seth, put your eye through the steel steps. You gotta let that go for a long time, and the fact that Alistair's doing that, I think that's what makes him a great character.
Well, and what I wanted to get at with that is Alistair is somebody in the WWE audience, somebody maybe that's all talk, all talk and no fight.
Yeah.
He's not really that way. He's a good wrestler. He's a really good wrestler. So the fact that he's brought in and the first thing that he does immediately, black mask. No words spoken, no actions
He
wasted.
doesn't have to. He lets his actions speak for himself, and that's why I think they're gonna pull the same trick on Friday. I don't.
I hope.
I doubt they will. I doubt they'll let him just do a quick black mask and end it. But that'd be really cool if they did. And Miz just walks up to him and he does it. He's like, 1, 2, 3. It's like, all right.
You can get people that'll say, "Oh, what a waste," but I look at it as like, no, this guy is so dangerous that you cannot make any mistake whatsoever.
You have to be perfect against this guy.
And that's what I really hoped that they were doing the first time around with him, because so many times I'd see Black talk this big talk and then he'd get into a match with somebody and he would just wrestle them.
Right.
And my thought is, yes, that's cool. You want to showcase that he's a really good wrestler and he's good with competition. But if you're putting this guy as this crazy lethal striker that can strike out of nowhere at any given time, let him end matches in 30 seconds sometimes.
Right. Well,
just because it's like you get your opponent caught off guard. One mistake can end it just like that.
Well, before he left, or before they fired him, he did it to Big E. And we were going to get that big segment with him and Big E, but then it's like, oh, hey, look, we released him. It's like, what a waste.
After what, 4 or 5 weeks of him doing the Dark Father storyline?
Right. And then, so I hope they continue with that. I would hate it because I love The Miz. I would hate it if he just instantly got kicked and then fell, but The Miz is such a good. That's what makes The Miz so great, is he's willing to do that for people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like Cena. Like, Cena used to build up the U.S. title doing the open challenges. He'd build up superstars. As much as he said he doesn't, he never did that, but he,
he was willing to do that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what goes on with SmackDown. So, like I said, my overall takes is 7 out of 10. So
there's a comment I did want to make that you being a blooming father in your own right here later on in this year, I didn't particularly like the comment that Orton made about how because Cena's not a dad, he's all of a sudden a worse person. That's such a weird comment to make for a babyface. You know how many people in the audience are not parents?
Yeah.
Who would be like, excuse me, I can't make a world of difference just because I'm not a parent.
Right. Well, also Cena kind of pointed this way. He goes, I don't need to be a dad. I was raising all of you guys.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you kind of did. But yeah, that one, you make a world of difference by being the person you are. Obviously, this isn't a knack towards what Randy said, but yeah, you can make a difference in any way, shape, or form. Whether it be social media or going out into the communities, that kind of stuff. Going to show love in the communities. That's one way to do it. But yeah, being a soon-to-be father, it's like I'm making a difference. I'll be making a difference to my kids. So
Yeah.
but
Because I absolutely get the sentiment of what he was talking about, because being put in that position makes you think about others more than
yeah,
yourself. I had a good coworker friend of mine. His name was Anthony. Shout out to Anthony if you ever listen to it. Love you, buddy. But he was in a relationship to where he didn't always get to see his son all the time, and the more time that he was allowed to spend with his son, he started to grow and develop as a person, and he loved being able to get that time and realized, oh well, this is how I can impact my legacy upon the world and
yeah.
help somebody else become better. So
So
I get what Orton was saying in that
yeah, so
respect.
just a
but-
little known fact to all of you guys. Later this year, myself and my fiance are expecting a child. We also found out Elijah and his wife are expecting a child.
We're outing you, Elijah.
So life is turning really fast this year. Um,
Yeah, you guys are parents to be this year, and I am still predictions champion, so it's really
he's gonna
working out
only
for
be
all of us.
predictions champion until next week, and then it's mine, so it's fine.
It's working out for all of us.
But even with life moving it the way it is, KTE's not going nowhere. That's isn't us saying, oh well, when the babies are born, we gotta stop. This was a fun half a year. No, like this isn't us doing any of that. This is us just giving you a little bit of our actual personal lives.
Yeah.
Because we're never normally that personable when we do this. We normally just focus on wrestling and all that. But sometimes it's good to talk about the personal stuff. And the many of you guys that do watch us, we do appreciate you guys watching us. So
Yeah,
we want you guys
absolutely.
to follow that, and we'll have a couple little Rugrats on a couple episodes in the future. You know,
Yeah.
won't be able to do anything. I'll be too focused on them. Like what? They'll be running around like stop.
like Becky in her
Yeah.
interview. Yeah.
Uh,
She's like, yeah,
but
talking to the mic.
yeah, it's like here you go, buddy. Put the headset on. But
very salient point. Lyra does
Right.
suck. Yes. She's learning fast.
oh, you miss Bailey too. But,
Well, with that said, any more
yeah.
comments on SmackDown, or are we ready to move on to Raw?
I'll just throw a little bit. I want to see, like I said, the only thing I want to see this Friday in between Alistair and Miz, this last kind of quote on that is I would love for them to have a good match, but I also would be okay if Alistair hit the one move and then ended it. So I'm kind of excited to see that. I don't really know what else is advertised for Friday yet, but I'm not too worried about all that.
No, because I know Nia Jax came back. I don't know if anything was made with her in that segment.
We went 28 minutes and we didn't mention the monster beast coming back. Oh,
She's not like most girls.
she's bigger than most. What? Anyways, that's fine. That's why we didn't talk about it, because she's boring. But yeah, what were your 7 out of 10 good-ish number?
Yeah. If we were comparing it, we did last week with the Raw after WrestleMania, because technically same week, but we do our weeks Friday to Monday instead of Monday Friday. But if you're comparing it to after Mania shows, better matches. You have the tag team match, both tag team matches, but you had the tag team match with Legado and Fraxium. You also had the TLC match, which was second best match of Mania weekend.
Yeah.
You think that's fair to say?
Something that should have just been put on WrestleMania Saturday, taking
yeah.
the World Tag Titles off, and then that Friday you can be like, hey, guess what? You guys are on tomorrow. It's like, okay, bet.
Yeah.
But no, we needed the New Day.
Yeah, I'd safely say second best match of the weekend outside of the triple threat. Some people may argue. Maybe they might say the street fight, or they might say Logan Paul, AJ, or they might say the Fatal 4-Way, but I think it's in contention at least for top 3
Yeah.
for Mania weekend. But really good matches. Excuse me, really good matches, but I don't think as far as moments go, it was better. It was not better than the Raw after WrestleMania.
No.
But I'd say if we're giving the Raw after Mania maybe a 8.5, 9. This is comfortably a 7.
Yeah.
I would agree with that sentiment. It's comfortably a 7.
Sweet.
So moving on to Raw, we have a few things I missed apparently because I watched it early this morning. I got up super early today. Just how my sleep schedule worked out. But I watched it on replay, and during that replay, I think I missed a few things because I did not see the Rusev promo that you're talking about. I also saw Ludwig Kaiser in the ring for a brief moment, and he disappeared.
Huh.
So being commercial free, did you see either of those things?
I was at work last night, so I kind of missed most of it. But I thought I saw a video package with Rusev somewhere. I don't know if it was just on social media or if it was actually on Raw, but there's a little video package of Rusev.
Okay. I'll have to go look.
I
And
might
seek
have
that
to just
out.
rewatch Raw because, yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I saw something with him talking about how it's been too long and it's his time to crush and stuff. I'll have to look into that and see if it's on social media or if it's.
No, because I kept wondering that same thing of where was Rusev in the whole episode. I kept waiting. I thought, oh, we're gonna get a follow up to this Alpha Academy thing, aren't we?
Yeah.
Where there's gonna be a match or there's gonna be an interaction somewhere. But we saw Otis talking to Sami Zayn, and I thought, oh well, I guess they're just not gonna do anything.
They're really
apparently.
running with that Sami storyline against the Seth and Braun. It's like, Sammy, come on, man. Like, you just got back from having your neck almost broken, and you're really going to go and try and fight Braun Breaker. Okay. But
and I love him, but since the world champion is not as important as Seth Rollins is, he's the opener and he's the main event of the show. And through all the show, they had bits and pieces of people coming up to Sammy, including one Karrion Kross, who was getting in Sammy's head a little while ago. All throughout the show, little bits and pieces of what's Sammy's decision. How does he feel? And that's when we led to a match at the end of the show. It felt impromptu in a way because Sammy came out in street clothes, and then afterwards he
it was very
just took his shirt off.
Yeah.
But Braun Breaker was ready.
Oh, yeah, Braun. The fact that if you're going to make it an impromptu match, don't let Braun Breaker be in his singlet. Like, that ruins the whole point. Like, just to have him wear the suit like he was wearing. Those two could have butted heads, and then you could have taken the shirt off, and there you go. They're both fighting in street clothes.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, Braun's going to come out in his singlet. So it's like, yeah, I think we're getting a match here with Sammy.
Well, so the whole thing was weird. That interaction, because at the very beginning of the show, he says, if you don't accept, Braun's going to want to come after you. And then Paul Heyman says, okay, if you don't accept, you're going to have a match with Braun Breaker. There's an expectation that there was going to be a match. But because you don't know where Sammy's head's at, Sammy has to come out in street clothes. But Braun Breaker is ready for a match regardless. That's why it's so...
Okay.
It's so weird. Because Sami Zayn can't come out in his wrestling gear. Otherwise, it's like, oh, well, he's definitely saying no.
Yeah. He has to come. It's kind of like the whole AJ Styles joining the Aces and Eights back in the day, where it was like he came out, did what he did. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, he's joining. And then he beats the crap out of all of them. He's like, okay. So it's kind of like that moment.
But that was the opener of the show. Seth Rollins staked his claim, Sami Zayn came out and was looking at him and saying, "This is just like the bloodline." And Seth kind of gets offended. Braun Breaker gets angry. Paul Heyman's just double chinning it up back there. And
The walrus.
Sami Zayn is given an ultimatum that he can either join them or he can move to SmackDown or stay a Target. And what was interesting is Paul Heyman's offer later on in the night was that he was moved to SmackDown and would immediately take on the winner of Randy Orton versus John Cena. Very interesting how much sway Paul Heyman has.
Yeah.
That he can just take over something like that. But I respect Sammy in the sense that he wanted the opportunity on his own. And who knows, he may get that.
Royal Rumble 2026.
Yeah, he can win it and celebrate with all the Saudi Arabian people.
I forgot it's in Saudi
Mhm.
Arabia. Oh, Lord. But, hey, the crowd might be electric that day, so
true.
it might be a good idea.
The forward progressive city of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. You know, I've heard it's a great place for tourism. WWE told me so.
Never, not going to make any comment on that. Anyways.
No comment. Speaking of world championship contenders, though, Logan Paul made his demand to Jey Uso and said, "The only thing I haven't had is a world championship. It's time I take what's mine." And Connor told me off the air that he is super stoked for this match, and he might actually buy a Logan Paul shirt because he's so excited.
Okay, don't ever lie to the crowd like that, okay? Here's my problem with that. I've done everything in this business but been a world champion. You haven't won Money in the Bank. You haven't won a Royal Rumble. You haven't won the IC title. You haven't competed in like a Hell in a Cell match. You have not done everything. You've had 7 total matches, maybe more. And you've not won the big one. No, you have not. So Jay's going to wipe the floor with you at Backlash, and that's going to be that. And then you can go
Yeah.
cry like a little bitch at your house and go fight your brother in May or whatever. That's probably why they're doing this, because he's going to fight his brother.
Trying to do promotion for that.
Yeah, he's going to go fight his brother, because they have to fight each other because they don't have enough money. Somebody's going to fork over millions to that. But anyways.
It's a good first win for Jay.
Yes.
Logan Paul's a big enough name to
Yeah.
where you look at it and you go, "Oh wow, Jey Uso beat Logan Paul. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Maybe he is world champion material."
Yeah. I mean, I'm not discarding what Logan does in the ring. Like, we talked about it before Mania. It's like Logan's a very, very agile competitor. He's a very good WWE superstar. But the fact he comes from the YouTube background and then jumps into this and gets all these matches handed to him is what irritates me. It's like, you got to earn these things. Yeah, okay, Backlash is 2 weeks away. We got to give Jay something. Okay, that's an easy, like you said, it's not an easy win, but it's a good first win for Jay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, after that, what's Logan going to be doing? He'll be back in time for SummerSlam. He called, again, we talked about this, he called himself a full-time superstar. But he's doing the Brock Lesnar treatment. If after Backlash he comes out and says, "Man, I fucked up and I lost, and I'm gonna work my ass off and get back in there. I will take on any competitor. I'm better than all of them." Does what he does. He says what he says. But if he's there consistently each week, or do a surprise attack on a main guy, that sets up a big feud. You go into that. There you go. Money in the Bank match.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I think Money in the Bank is after Backlash.
Yeah. True.
So is he going to be included in that match? Probably. Is he going to get handed the opportunity? Probably. But
He works great in those multi-man matches. He
He
was good in
does.
the Chamber. He was good last year in Money in the Bank.
Yeah, he does really well in those kind of matches, which that's what makes him a big deal in WWE. He makes him a big deal because they forked over billions of dollars for him. But when they advertise Prime all over the fucking place, but shitty ass drinks. But anyway,
I love the little marking at the end of the show is like promotional consideration brought to you by Prime Holdings LLC.
but yeah, that was kind of expected for him to come out and do that. It's like, okay, we know where this is going.
Good first win for Jay. That's how I look at it. And with a couple of weeks, you need a big enough star to be able to have a big time match on a pay-per-view. And
Yeah.
Logan Paul fits that bill.
So now here's what they could do. If you're gonna make that, obviously they're gonna do that match at Backlash. Those two are gonna tear the house down probably because they're both high flying athletes. Do you have Jay get attacked at the end of the match when he wins? Do you have somebody come out and attack him like Rusev?
Mm.
Do you like starts the Rusev's build up? I mean, do you have somebody else come out and attack him like Drew? I mean, it's just
I don't think I would personally.
I wouldn't either, but that's knowing WWE. It would not
That's a wrap.
surprise me that they just, hey, Jay, you win, turn around, and then there you go. So it would not surprise me if they did, but I could see it happening.
Mm.
But it would build up a next opponent for Jay right away.
Yeah.
Because Backlash. It's not going to be that big of a pay per view. I don't think we're going to get. They're just throwing matches together because it's such a short time, in my opinion. But I'm excited to watch it still. But you got to give the fans something, and if it's obvious Jay's winning, you got to throw a little surprise in there because I don't think we're going to get much surprises happening at Backlash. I think everything's going to pretty much stay the same. It's going to be nonchalant. It's going to be just a basic pay-per-view. So if you throw that little sparkle in of Jay wins, he comes out from the turnbuckle, turns around, and somebody hits him. I don't know who it is, but somebody attacks him. They look at the title, and they just go,
boom, feud set.
Then feud set. Then they're like, see you Monday. And then that's what sets up your next match for Money in the Bank and future matches.
Okay.
But
okay. I see it potentially. Moving on, we also have another match announced for Backlash, and it looks like Becky Lynch is going to be fighting herself, which is kind of weird considering that the Intercontinental Championship is on the line.
I know. It's kind of like Taker versus Taker or Kane versus Imposter Kane. It's like I don't know.
Huh. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it should be fun though.
I'm excited to see Becky win. The real Becky, not the imposter Becky.
Yeah, not the imposter. From one Irish person to the next, we have Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch starting their feud on Monday night. And I was telling Connor earlier, I'm excited to see this purely because we're finally going to be getting that Lyra character development. And it's fun for me to see because she came to the ring and was doing all of her talking to Becky. And you can tell that she hasn't had the time to really be on the mic because she had minimal presence. In the same way that on Friday, just to gloss over that a little bit, in the same way that Friday, Jade felt so less intimidating when she finally started to speak.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden, when you're talking, I don't believe you because
you're that bad.
Yeah, you don't convince me. Which is, it's crazy. It's crazy to me how people can't just talk normally. When they're doing a stilted promo like that, how can they not be in a situation where they're believable?
Or, I don't know. We'll talk about Jade another time. Never mind. Go ahead.
Let it out.
What makes me upset with Jade, she's a megastar. You signed her because of what she did over in that other company.
And her potential, yeah.
And the potential she has, if she had come out on Friday, instead of walking down the ring, attack Tiffany, You gotta make this woman that kind of person. She's big enough and strong enough to be that. Let her just attack people. Don't let her talk. Let her attack people. I don't know. We had like a 7'5" giant back in 2007 who used to just squish people's skulls. I don't know. What was that guy's name? Oh yeah, the Great Khali. That guy never had to talk. Obviously, he was from wherever, but he had his little Ranjan Singh going
Yeah.
on with him. But the Great Khali never talked. He just came out, smushed their head, dropped them, and that was it. That was the best part about the Great Khali. He used to just do that and scare the shit out of people. I'm not saying Jade's going to come out and squish people's heads, but let her just attack people.
Yeah.
Let her be a monster. Like, because she's built that way. But they want her to grow on the mic. It's like, no. I want a superstar who's just gonna attack and not say a word.
Yeah. When you get a wrestler that's just been doing wrestling and that's it, and you give them the opportunity to be on the mic, good. I want them to grow and develop, but that doesn't immediately scream to me world title contendership.
Yeah.
Because love Naomi, but all she did was just beat Naomi.
Yeah.
I don't think that's earned her a championship match.
No.
But with Raw the way that it is, Lyra has had some very good matches.
No.
As minimally as she's been on TV, she has been having good matches when she is on TV, but she's not had to do any talking when she's been on TV. Now that she's finally able to do some talking, I sense some nervousness.
Yeah.
I sensed a little trepidation as she didn't know what to say, or she, when trying to say some of the lines, was trying to fight to find that anger within her. Seemed far less confident
Yeah.
than Becky Lynch did.
Well, because Becky's a well-known athlete and superstar. She's been there before. She's been there for 10 years at this point. It's like she's built that up. Lyra's coming in at I'm only performed in front of 10,000 people, however many people are in NXT,
Yeah.
to where now she's performing in front of 20 to 30,000 people, and it's very nerve-wracking. It's kind of like the stage fright thing. If you ever had a speech class in high school, it's
Yeah.
kind of like that. You go up on that, yeah, you're talking in front of high schoolers or whatever, but you're talking in front of your peers, but like that's still nerve-wracking. You still got to go up there and not freeze, or you have to be on cue with it. So, um, and honestly, that's one of the reasons Ricochet had failed in WWE, because he couldn't talk. He was a great athlete, couldn't talk. Lyra's kind of the same thing. Good athlete, can't talk. I'm not saying she's gonna falter in WWE, but that's what makes her such a work of such. That's what makes her need work, is because
Mm.
if she can't talk on the mic, she's just a competitor, which I'm okay with, just being a competitor, but don't try to force yourself to go word to word with Becky Lynch or even Nia Jax at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Two people who have shown themselves capable
yeah,
in that realm. It's good though because I keep saying every single week that Lyra has had zero character development since she's joined the main roster. They gave her character development in NXT. It was there. I'm not saying that it wasn't there, but on the main roster, and as far as she's been on there for over a year now, there's been no character development. Why should I, as a main roster watcher, as this Lyra Valkyria edition on Raw, why should I care about this person?
yeah.
This storyline is going to give me a chance to be able to invest in her character.
You know what it's also gonna do? Just like we saw on SmackDown, we got a new Women's U.S. Champion. It's gonna put those titles in relevancy now,
Mm.
because the first two champions, what were their title reigns? Who did they compete against? Chelsea went against Mi Chin for 12 times.
Yeah.
Lyra didn't do anything with it. It's like, now we're getting those titles are here for a reason. It's like they're going to be able to be used now. I think it was since Mania is over. Now they're finally putting stories together, and the women's rosters are coming together now, and we're finally getting good storylines with those. So I think this is a kickstart for the women's IC title.
Mm.
And I've been for them having a title for many, many years at this point because there's so many women on the roster. You can give. I'm gonna say her name wrong from WWE, but I know her as Casey Catanzaro from American Ninja Warrior. You can give somebody like her a little bit of work. You can give her an IC title match. You can give her a United States Championship match. But that just builds up those titles more. The more matches those titles are defended, the more they become relevant. I'm not saying they have to be defended every week. Just put them in good storylines. So then we finally get a reason to cheer for those titles. Because it was really cool seeing Zelina Vega hold up the U.S. title. I'm not saying Chelsea Green was a horrible champion, but she didn't do anything. They didn't give her anybody to go against. They had a bodyguard. They had Me Chin go at her 12 times, but
Yeah, I didn't like how much that rivalry extended itself. I wish they would have given more opportunities to different opponents.
right. But you know what I'm saying though, like this is these 2 nights back to back, Friday and Saturday and Monday, they're kickstarting those titles finally. It's something we've needed since they've been brought out.
And Becky Lynch is definitely the same kind of deal. When she had the NXT Women's Championship, as Lyra alluded to on Monday, when she had the NXT Women's Championship, she treated it like it was a mid-card championship.
Yep.
She defended it week after week. I think she only had it for about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Nothing too long, but within the time frame that she did have it, she defended it every week.
Right.
So she racked up quite a few defenses within that time frame. And if she can do something like that, I'm assuming that she's going to beat Lyra. Why wouldn't she?
I could see him not doing it because they need that win for her. Lyra needs that win because she hasn't really had that win. Yeah, okay, Mania, but she didn't she didn't get the pinfall at Mania. Becky did. So you gotta give her a win if she's gonna stay champion. I don't think they should keep her as champion, but I think Becky could elevate that title. But maybe this does kickstart Lyra into something. So
Where if she wins
or
against
she
Becky, then she
it's
at
a
least
big
can
deal.
Yeah, she can say that she's proved her worth as champion and proved the doubters wrong.
Yeah.
So there's that. If you want to build Lyra into a world title contender at this point,
This is
having
the way
her
to start it.
having her with a main eventer on the women's division, it's the way to do it. But as far as the rest of Raw goes, we had our main event match that we've kind of already talked about a little bit. We also had the New Day fat shaming on commentary.
I'm over that tag division. I'm over the New Day and their heel gimmicks. They're bad, but that's who WWE decided to be tag champs.
I like the New Day, but they were annoying on commentary.
I mean, no, I like the New Day, but never mind. Go on a little tangent again.
Yeah, no, go for it. Go for it.
It's just we talked about it already. The tag division is so bad on Raw. It's like they had to give it to New Day to where they could have done something. They could have done that match, the Raw before Mania, the triple threat, and then they could be champions. I'd be fine with it if that match wasn't at Mania.
Yeah.
I think if you take that match off Mania, I would be like, okay, cool, New Day's tag champs. But the fact they had to put it on Mania in a
Was zero build.
it was a shit match. The match wasn't great. You had the fat guy doing the kick up, but that was about it. And then New Day got the win. It's like, okay. So we're going back to New Day being champion for 825 days. So
Yeah, I don't think the New Day heel run's really been all that great. If we're honest, they've treaded water for a long time, and I was so happy to see people on YouTube dogging on not only that Mania match but the storyline in general. It made me feel validated for not liking the direction that they were going.
Yeah.
So your entire tag division on Raw, it was War Raiders, and you had the Judgment Day, and the War Raiders won the match. Penta interfered, and they announced that for next week, Penta versus JD.
If it tells you anything, the entire Raw division, tag division, was on Raw this week.
Yeah.
If it tells you anything. But
Yeah, because you could barely consider LWO a tag team.
Because they're nowhere to be found.
They feel like a floating faction.
Yeah.
They just get involved in whatever storyline. They're
Whatever.
not tag team specific.
No.
Well, were the Creed brothers? Because Chad Gable and Ivy were on TV. I don't think the Creed brothers were on TV.
Okay, I forgot about the Creed brothers. So, oh wait, no, where was your boy at?
He's taking a well-deserved rest. Didn't you see him? He's back. He's back in Mexico. They had a parade. He's celebrating. He's taking some time off. You know.
Yeah, he's taking some time off.
Hey, when you are the greatest luchador of all time, you can take some time off. And no, I'm not talking about Rey Mysterio. I'm talking about El Grande Americano. Gracias. But his close personal friend, Chad Gable, was there this week. And as Ivy Nile took on Stephanie Vaquer, which I'm really glad that we are getting some form of NXT involvement on the main roster, even just small. Because you had Roxanne and you had Rhea going at it, which great match, by the way. Good match to see. Ended in DQ, as we thought it would. Two top superstars from different brands can't have a loss. Stephanie ended up winning her match. Makes sense. She's a champion. Keep her looking strong. I enjoyed seeing those interactions on TV. It was nice.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I want that big guy. I want
Oba?
I want Obi. Yeah, I want him to be on the main roster. Like I want that guy. That guy's a monster.
He's doing a lot of good stuff at NXT.
That's the problem though. They do good in NXT. They get brought up and they're nowhere to be found. So Carmelo Hayes.
Well, you know, some people make the transition better than others. We'll see how Fraxium ends up before too long. Trick Williams also showed up at Rebellion TNA pay-per-view just this past week, the 27th. So he's making waves across the pond, if you will. But we also had AJ Styles, who looks like he's going to be entering the Intercontinental title picture, which about time.
Yeah.
We thought that's what he was going to do at WrestleMania with Breaker in the picture. But, it's going to be tough to see because I don't know if we're going to get that match, Breaker versus Styles. I thought we would, but right now they're moving on different paths. I don't know if we're going to get that match. I'd like to say that we would.
I don't think we will just yet. I think we'll get it later down the road.
Yeah.
If we get it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. As it stands, I'd give Raw a 7.5.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd give him that.
I don't think it was better matches than the Raw after Mania.
Yeah.
Not as good of a show is what I would say. Partly because what we saw the week before was novel and new, but this time around, not as overall. Last thing I do want to mention before I turn it over to you, Pat McAfee versus Gunther. Nick Aldis, our substitute GM for the week, since Adam Pearce was on vacation. Even bald guys need a break. Made the match. Gunther's suspension will be lifted at Backlash, and they will be able to have a match. Now, I don't know. I'll turn it over to you at this point. I don't know if you saw any of his work in NXT, Pat.
Yes. I saw his work in NXT, and then I saw his 2 matches in WWE with The Miz, and then
I
at
think
Mania with
Theory.
Theory.
Yeah.
So I'm very well aware of what Pat can do in the ring,
Okay.
but why? Like, I'm not like, is this? Are they writing Pat off for like a time, or is he gonna come back on Monday? Like, what is going on with Pat? That's my question. Is he not coming back, or is he just doing it to defend Michael Cole because Gunther can't just take criticism very well? Which I understand that because Michael Cole does say some shit. So, but that also is like I I I just it's one match I'm not sure about.
Makes me wonder how they're going to play it. Are they going to play it as in a commentator is trying to wrestle and defend the honor of his friend, and so he's going to fight his hardest, but he's not going to really do all that well since he's not a true competitor? Or is this the way that they're going to try to slowly slide Pat McAfee into, I don't want to say a wrestler role because I don't think he flourishes in
No,
that way. I think he's a better personality than he would be a wrestler. Or if they're just going to use this as a slide and say, hey, Pat McAfee, he's good enough to where if he needs to wrestle from time to time, he can. Because I'm sure Pat wants to.
yeah,
I imagine that's part of what he wanted to do. He probably wanted to say, hey, I'd like to have a match before too long. And
yeah,
this is
and
what they thought of.
he's only got so much time. Like, you only have so much time if you're gonna be a competitor to do it.
Right, because you get a point where you either can't physically
Right.
or.
As much as I hate saying it, Cena. Cena is getting to that point, and that's why we're getting this retirement tour. And that's why every time you see him take a bump, I don't really know if he's actually selling it. Because I don't think he can take a bump that hard. It's like, at last 2 RKOs, he's just.
Dead.
It's like Cena's just not moving. And obviously he's selling it to high heavens, but.
But the idea is, I understand. The idea is, will this be a commentator versus wrestler, or is this going to be Pat McAfee pretending to be a wrestler going against Gunther? Or is this going to be, hey, we're going to act like Pat is a competent wrestler for one night just so we can get a fun match?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the fun match part.
You think so?
I think Pat's the good competitor, but we can't be serious. Gunther's gonna wipe the floor with him. Gunther's gonna beat the living shit out of him. That match probably won't even last 5 minutes, in my opinion.
Mm.
But don't quote me on that.
Well, no, I think that you're probably right, simply because Pat is not in the position where he can go out there and pull out a 15-minute match, nor do I think that we want that,
no.
considering that a lot of the matches at WrestleMania barely went 15 minutes,
Yeah.
and those are regular wrestlers. So having Pat come out and have a 15-minute match with one of your best wrestlers, no, I don't think so. I think you're looking at a 10-minute max situation,
Yeah.
but more likely around the 5 to 7-minute mark.
Yeah. I'm excited for it because I think Pat does great work on the mic. Because obviously he's saying F-bombs and all that yesterday, and they bleeped that out. But
Yeah.
even though Netflix I thought was going to be like inappropriate, but anyways.
But that's a match at Backlash. Pat McAfee versus Gunther. And we also have Becky versus Lyra. Some of these are unannounced, but we're heading towards that way, to where it's going to look like this. We also have John Cena versus Randy Orton in what might be the final time that we see this. And I like that they're doing video packages of Cena versus Orton over the years.
Yeah.
That gets me hyped for Backlash.
And then we've got a potential Logan Paul and Jey Uso match that's going to get announced. So Backlash isn't looking too bad.
No.
I'm more excited for Backlash than I was Mania in all honesty. Like,
That's fair.
and that's hard to do because normally I get excited for Mania, but sheesh.
And it's been like that some years, where
Yeah.
Backlash has had the better card, or it's taken the promise of what Mania was supposed to be
Right.
and done it better.
Yeah. So it's exciting to see. We're obviously going to get more info next week and Friday, and I think Backlash is only going to have like 5 matches, but I'd be okay with that instead
Yeah.
of 7 matches and then 4 hours, and it's going to be a quick, quick 4 hours, but or however long the pay per view. We know Cena and Orton will probably go half an hour. In my opinion, it's the last time they're going to go against each other. I wouldn't be surprised if they made this a stipulation match, but they probably won't.
I'd say they probably won't.
But
They don't want Cena getting hurt.
and
Not
then,
this early.
well, if Homeboy's going to show back up, are they going to keep doing this gimmick where Travis Scott shows up every time to help Cena win? Because I have heard rumors they want to give him and Cena a tag match this year.
Oh.
So I'm like, anyways.
Their entrance together is just going to be the Fiend song. Fiend, Fiend, Fiend. He's just going to walk down and have a 5-minute WrestleMania entrance.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, if that's a cool 5 matches, be good
Yeah.
to see. I'm looking forward to Backlash. We're going to extend that out to you guys. How do you feel about Backlash thus far? What have been your favorite Backlash over the years? Maybe think of the 2007 edition or the 2000 Backlash was great. It was what WrestleMania 2000
Yep.
should have been, WrestleMania 16. So what are some of your favorite Backlash moments and pay-per-views over the years? Let us know in the comment section below. Until that time, we'll be with predictions real soon, sooner than you think.
Possibly. We may just do a quick short video on it, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah, because I think at this point, let's look at the calendar real shortly. I think at this point, next week would be our predictions.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
We may just throw something out like a tweet or something, but we're not sure about scheduling issues. We got some scheduling conflicts going on.
Yeah, but hopefully next week, at the best of our ability, we'll be bringing to you on predictions.
Mhm.
If not, we'll do our best to be able to bring you the content that'll be Backlash related.
Yep.
If nothing else. But until that time, this has been the KTE Wrestling Podcast.